Here we are, live, or hopefully we're live. Friday Night Tactical. Once again, we've got Scott to my right. Oh, yes. Yeah, thank you for reminding us. We had a vote last week on what his avatar would be because he can't go live with the camera. And the vote on the community site was the cow counter from Drop Zone, St. Marigny's. There were a few other options. One of them was Mo from Three Stooges, which I think came in second. And of course, we have Stu from Vassal with Stu below us as well. And my wife, Amy, moderating. Say hello, Amy. Hopefully they can hear you. Hello, there you are. We had a little technical difficulties at first, and I'm going to share something on the screen just to see if it works in live mode. Because Scott and Stu could not see this when I shared it. I'm going to check the stream to see if can you guys see it now?
Yep.
Oh, you can see it.
Yep.
Oh, awesome. I don't know why it wouldn't show up in our pre-meeting for the stream, but yeah, it shows up now, so that's cool.
Yeah, it looks clean.
Yeah, okay, let's do some updates. Stream updates, channel updates. Scott and I have we need to do it. We are going to have an AAR of, what was the scenario?
Buckley's Block?
Buckley's Block, yes. Japanese versus Marines. Probably have that coming out in the next week or two. And I think I have one more second front video coming, dealing with a few AFB things. That'll be the fourth one. That will probably be the last second front video for a while until the British/Desert Theater DLC is released. And then again, I'm going to do a boot camp video on vehicle movement as well. That is planned. How about you, Stu? What do you got coming up on yours? You've been a little inactive lately. I've been keep looking for something, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I've been busy doing Friday Night Tactical.
It's once every 2 weeks.
I started. I just been busy, other stuff, just real life stuff happening around here. I did start recording part of the first part of doing one of my war zones or war rooms of Men from the Mountains or Men of the Mountains. I think George Hodis had did a semi replay of it, but I'm doing more like an analysis of it. He actually played the game.
Hmm.
I'll play it solo. I think I've gotten through the scenario special rules, and now I'm going to go up the setup considerations for both sides. Well, the partisans is pretty simple, but just little quirks and maybe some tricks that you might be able to look at and decipher from the scenario. So hopefully I'll get that done this weekend. So it's just a matter of me getting to it and jamming on it.
How about you, Scott? What do you got going on? It doesn't have to be ASL related, just wargaming or history, whatever.
Oh, just I played a little BCS.
Yeah.
Played by email game, got that going on. That's about it as far as gaming, really.
Yeah, we finished our scenario, well, a week ago, maybe?
Oh, it was just last weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday.
We're still chomping at the bit for the drop zone, waiting on the counters now. Russ Sandbags has a question. Love the channel. Any advice on starting with ASL Starter Kit 1? We'll hang in there. We're going to jump into that here shortly. Talking about how to approach ASL.
Watch your YouTube channel.
Well, that could be a little bit of drinking. We're kind of jumping ahead. That's kind of drinking from the fire hose as well, right? You know, I think that comes secondary to that. I always recommend reading the rules first, right, and then start. I mean, you should watch some of my videos. Without reading the rules, you probably won't know what's going on. News. Yeah, I had a news slide up here. How's everyone in chat doing, by the way? We got Germany, Australia, Tempe, Arizona, Macon, Georgia. Anyone playing ASL this weekend? Go Princeton. Are they winning? Obviously, I'm not watching the game. Friday Night Tactical News. ASL related or just tactical wargaming in general. Armies of Oblivion pre-order is up. Most of you guys probably know this, maybe not. So if you need it, make sure you get the pre-order in. I might get a backup copy. I already have a copy. I might get a backup copy. I don't know, but I'm sure I will, and I'll probably open it on the channel. ASL Journal number 14 is on pre-order. Make sure you get that. That is the Anzac themed journal, and it comes with a mini historical. And the name of it, Sparrow Force, I think it's what it's called. And it has a cool little, should have grabbed that image to show. It has a cool PTO village map on it. That's kind of neat looking. Yeah, so it's got a mini historical in it.
That'll be fun.
Amy, can you hear us?
Yeah, Anzacs are fun. Tough troops.
Okay. Vassal 6651 was released to fix an auto board updating bug. So if you're a Vassal player, make sure you get the update. Otherwise, you may not get your boards updated when you open up a scenario. And I don't think you can pull the drop zone map. I don't think it'll pull that unless you have this update.
Wow.
And speaking of that, the drop zone St. Mary Glee's Vassal map was officially released. We had a playtest version of it, but this is a more refined version. But there are no counters yet. That won't come out until next month, as far as I understand.
So that's all three of them, or do they have sections?
Good question. It's 3 separate maps.
Oh, gotcha.
Instead of the one we have is the whole shebang.
Right. Okay, cool.
Very
cool.
This is 3 sections.
All right.
And then second front, the British/Desert Theater DLC is coming soon. I have seen screenshots of it, and it looks very cool. I asked if I could share, and Joe said, no, not until Micropose says we can share them. But I've seen some screenshots of it, and it looks pretty cool. Full British order of battle and desert terrain as well. Let's see. Question here. Okay, an idea for new content. Can you make a special, including gameplay with solitaire ASL? I suppose a new edition was announced by MMP. Yeah, they're going to redo solitaire. Scott would have to lead that one because I've never played solitaire ASL.
I haven't played it for quite a while.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to. I couldn't do gameplay, to be honest, because I've never even read the rules. I have it, but I've never used it.
I played Team Solitaire, and that was a hell of a blast. Everyone had a platoon of units or slightly larger, and you would scoot on your different areas of the map and get stuff done, help each other out. That was a lot of fun. It was like team ASL without against the computer sort of thing. A lot of fun.
I've never heard of that. That would be fun.
Yeah, there's a group of guys doing a sort of like team Sassel online. I'm not sure if they really post a whole bunch of stuff, but I think Carl Noguera has got some information on that. Just some, I don't know. I played it a couple years ago, and it was just a lot of fun. Seriously, it was just a lot of fun. If you just want to get away
Maybe
from
we'll have
the seriousness of ASL and just get out there and crack some skulls, it's a good way.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to try that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You guys can jump in. We can do it on stream here. My brain capacity can't hold any more rules. I'm tapped out.
Oh, come on.
And one thing about the Vassal fix, to me, 665 has been problematic since it came out. I just run 664. I don't really have any problems with the auto board updatings. 665, to me, I've just heard of nothing but complaints about it. If you guys run into problems with your Vassal modules, just drop back to an earlier edition. Even 663 and stuff like that. As long as you're both using the same one and the Vassal engine is compatible with that Vassal version, you guys should be fine. And but yeah, 666 should be coming out. Heck, I thought that was going to come out in April, June at the latest. That's a lot of good stuff at 666, I hear. So
yeah, it's going to have the Semi-Arglese counters, and it's going to have movement tracking.
Yeah, the tracking's really cool.
Would be infantry, not so much. I don't really care, but for vehicles, where you see where the vehicle goes, and you go, okay, how many movement points did I spend? You can kind of backtrack pretty easily without doing the undo button or whatever.
Yeah, I tried to pull that over from Squad Leader because it had the command structure in it. Couldn't quite get it to work, and then one of the guys on Game Squad, don't really recall his name, but he fired it up, and it was I got really excited about it. Yeah, infantry you don't really need. The armor really useful, especially for players to beginning with the armor. That way they don't really have to. You always lose track. Somebody fires at you, and you just, oh my god, how many movement points was that? So it's always good. It's a good item.
Oops. Need to do that. I meant to do that.
It's a big tank. It's a big tank. Big tank, Vlad.
Do that, I guess. Yeah.
Luckily, it's a small 39 tank, so I can just flip it over. Just flip the tank.
So, Scott.
Yes.
Before we jump into talking about how to approach ASL, make it easier to digest for new players, you went to a model show recently, World War II model show. Do you want to go through some of the pictures that you took?
Oh, sure.
Can you see it? Come up.
No.
Oh, hold on. Hold on.
Oh, nice.
Now?
Yes.
Sorry, I had to share it. Yep, it's coming up. Yeah, just step us through it. I mean, I recognize some of the vehicles, but I probably couldn't put a name to half of these, an actual historical name.
Yeah, I think that's that's an M3, but I think it's the M16 with the quad 50s on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. And do you know, is that in ASL? Is that in the order of battle?
Yeah.
Quad 50s?
Yeah.
Is it?
Quad 50 on a M3. Yeah.
They skimp on the firepower. I think it's only 24.
Let me zoom in bigger for you guys. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Soviet. I'm not too good on my Soviet tanks.
IS
SU,
something? SU?
IS or SU
Yeah.
something. It's kind of self-propelled gun. It's like a Stug kind of.
Yeah.
Like a German Stug.
Probably a big gun on it.
Is it
Like
it's either the 120, maybe the
22
one.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either 76
the
or
barrel's
120.
cut off a little bit. Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
one of those SUs. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Don. 85 or something like that. Anything from 85 to a 122. 152 is a bit fatter on the front.
Yeah, I think these are all 135th scale.
Here we go.
That's Whirlwind.
Whirlwind. We all know that one.
Quad 20 millimeter. It's on like a Panzer IV chassis.
Yeah, we played with that recently. What was the
Yeah, I just had one of those, and you had it. Oh, that was the
Rockets Red Glare.
Yeah, Rockets Red Glare.
Yeah.
You never got to use it though.
I know. The scenario kind of ended prematurely. I wanted to use it so bad.
You should have overrun him in the building.
I was staying away from it.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of hard to avoid in that scenario.
That's a little Renault tank, I think, isn't it? Or a Czech tank?
Yeah. Is it 38? Maybe?
Yeah. Chassis, yeah.
38T?
Something like that, yeah. Those are great. I love those.
Ah.
Yeah. Do not touch models. Come on now. Why not? It's just, they only break one time. 35? All right, Tim, cool. Yeah.
What do we have here?
Another Soviet tank. T-34?
T-34, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Some boots on it?
Yeah.
Not terribly hip on my Soviet armor.
It looks like a T-34 to me.
Yeah.
But you could fill up with snow. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's my buddy Don's. He's kind of on a North Africa kick lately. That's
Is that a 6B?
That little
Mark 6?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, Mark 6.
The 10
British
firepower?
tank.
Yeah.
Probably see this in the second front.
Two to kill die rolls. Oh yeah, second front. That'll definitely be in second front. I love it.
Yeah, another North African themed German armored car.
How often did guys actually stand on top of their tanks like that? I get dizzy and fall off. That's a hell of a fall.
I think in the desert you kind of had to if you wanted to see anything.
Oh right.
So flat.
Binoculars.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Very nice. Very nice.
M10.
Whip that 50 cal around. See, he's not standing on the tank. He uses binoculars.
Scott,
of course, he's got a big target on it.
I don't think Amy had a question.
Yes.
I might have to add her.
I can't hear Amy.
Yeah, hold on. I think for us to hear you, we have to add you to the scene. Okay, ask away, Amy.
Okay, so just on that last one, or the last two with the characters standing on the tank, my question was, are those characters to scale?
Yes.
Okay, because they seem really big.
Oh, the guy in the British tank? Yeah, the British tank's pretty small.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just an armored car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
they should be the figures should be the same scale as the tank. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of goofy looking face.
Vehicle.
But, yeah.
What is this? This looks familiar.
M10.
M10. Yeah, it's got an open top turret. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically M4 Sherman chassis, but open top turret with a 90mm gun.
In Rockets Red Glare as well? Didn't you have one of those?
Something no, I had them like the M36. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I think so.
Real similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some giant tanks, Russ. The KV2s you'll see. Mouse you won't ever see. KV2s, early war. I love the KV2s. They're just giant monsters. Love them.
That's Panzer IV F2.
Last one, I think.
More North Africa. Yeah, that was like the British called it the Mark IV Special.
Yeah, I believe wasn't the Panzer IV like one of the most used main battle tanks? German, most made.
Yeah, probably.
It was used during most of the war. Once it came into the service, I think it was used to the end, pretty much.
Well, I mean, as far as North Africa, this came on the scene kind of late, but it was a real game changer because it had that, most up till then everything was like the biggest gun they had was 50 millimeter.
Oh right.
And this had was up gun, the 75 millimeter cannon on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Took a bunch of pictures. I'll have more for the next live stream. If you have any questions, make sure you post them up, and Amy will ask us, and hopefully we can answer them. Let's jump into the meat.
Demystifying.
I don't know what else to call this. And the reason we're doing this is because I have been working on this idea since last year. I don't know, 6 months or so. I put together a bunch of material for a video series, and I kept kind of putting it on the back burner and thinking how I could do it effectively. So I thought, let's just pull it in here and we can just kind of have a roundtable discussion amongst ourselves and with the chat on how you should approach playing Advanced Squad Leader and why people shouldn't view it as being an intimidating system. I mean, from the outside, without having anyone give you the information, it does appear to be a very intimidating system, but it really isn't. Once you start poking away at it, I don't really think it is. So I have a bunch of information here. We may skip over some of it, but maybe it'll fuel some discussion between us and the chat. So make sure chat, you guys ask some questions. The Squad Leader ecosystem. How many guys in chat played the original Squad Leader at some point? I did. Back in 78, probably. I don't think I played it immediately, but it was shortly after you introduced me to it, Scott.
Yeah. I think that was my first game. I played picked up Squad Leader and then Panzer Blitz at the same time. It's my first Avalon Hill games, essentially war games too. So
Richard says he did. It's cool. Don, yep. This is original, obviously, but the rules become increasingly muddled through the three expansions. And as anyone who has played all the way through, we stopped at GI because we knew where it was going, and we moved into ASL. But SK didn't exist back then when we did that. And the system was actually scrapped because they knew it was becoming a mess. And they went to Advanced Squad Leader, which was a redesign from the ground up. That was in 1985. Obviously with increased complexity and organization, but it's one of the most well-organized war games that I've ever seen as far as being able to look things up.
yeah, index is real key.
Yeah, and I don't think it shipped with an index. Scott and I were talking about this.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That came a couple years later, I think.
I think it was like fan made. And
I think so.
And then they adopted it and cleaned it all up or whatever, or expanded it. I don't think it originally came with an index, which, yeah, index is huge.
Table of contents, but yeah, the index is later.
Yeah. And then in 1998, Avalon Hill goes under. I don't really know the details of how or why that happened. It may be because they put too many of their eggs in the ASL basket. I don't know exactly why. And then MMP. Go ahead. Do you know?
Video games.
Oh yeah, they got into video games. That's right. Which didn't go over well, I guess. They sunk a ton of money in it, and they weren't getting their investment back, probably.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think board games in general at that time probably weren't real big sellers.
They're probably
I don't
declining
think.
at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they give a reason? Andrew states that program instruction in ASL is great. Do you guys know? I think there was some chatter. Some guys have made some programmed instruction for ASL. Do you know why they didn't at least have some sort of rudimentary system for the same thing in ASL? You would think that would be the case.
To begin with.
We
Yeah.
use we use the staller.
Yeah, I'm going to show that
This-
later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scott knows. Yeah, there is a homegrown program instructions for ASL. I don't know why it didn't ship with it, because you could do it fairly easily. I mean, obviously somebody did it.
Right. So yeah, just maybe they were just because Squad Leader was selling so well, they just figured everyone had already played Squad Leader. They really don't need to kind of like go over the same thing. I don't know. It's interesting.
Comment from David here. Recently came across an original Squad Leader and expansion set, trying to decide whether to jump in or just skip to the starter kits. Let's just chime in here on that.
Starter kits.
Starter kit. What about you, Stu?
I would say starter kits simply because it's probably much more modern, and you won't have to fuddle through the rule books like you stated earlier, Neal. The starter kit's much less reading to do than than Squad Leader, and you'll have the same quality of command arm scenarios, infantry scenarios, stuff like that. So, and the starter kit stuff, easier to find. I find I've played most, and as well as you guys, a lot of scenarios. A lot of scenarios are a lot of fun, and the next best thing is they've converted all of the Squad Leader scenarios to ASL. And if you are just interested in playing at starter kit, you can just play those scenarios using the starter kit rules, in case you are, quote, missing out on something that ASL may have offered. So you can always do that. And it may not be as balanced, but, if you're playing the game for fun, which most of us did, we didn't even consider balance an issue. We just played, got annihilated.
And the other reason.
Well, I mean, I haven't played.
Go ahead, Scott.
I haven't played Squad Leaders since we went through it again in like '94.
Yeah.
Like when we started back up, we
Yep.
started with Squad Leader, but I don't even remember how Squad Leader played. But all I know that full ASL is better. I think better experience than Squad Leader ever was.
And you'll find more players to play
That's
against.
that's what I
You'll
was going
find
to just touch on, Stu. Another reason, and I'm not trying to denigrate or trash talk Squad Leader, because I love Squad Leader from the nostalgia, revolutionary system. You can see it over my shoulder here, right back there. The full ASL or full Squad Leader system. I've had it since the 70s. Same versions right there. But the community for it is very small compared to ASL and Starter Kit, which I consider to be one community. I mean, there are thousands of players, very active. You can get any sort of help. Tons of YouTube channels, videos on how to play ASL and ASL Starter Kit. The Squad Leader community is just very small, and it doesn't get really played that much from what I can tell. So I would recommend Starter Kit for that reason as well.
Right.
It's a larger community to help you out. Yeah. Okay, so 2004 Starter Kit came out, which is ASL Lite. That's what a lot of people call it. Much
Damn,
more
it's 20
approachable.
years.
Yeah, I know, almost 20 years.
Damn.
Much more approachable. Some people say it's a different game. I don't know why they say that, or that you have to unlearn it.
Neal,
Yeah.
you're not sharing your screen. Do you mean to?
My apologies.
And then Russ also asked a question regarding, do you think the decline in war games could be partially attributed to World War II veterans passing away in the 90s?
I wouldn't think so.
I think
it's just
yeah.
I think it's just board games especially board games relating to World War II. I mean, it's a generational stuff, right? People who get older, the younger generations come up. World War II for a lot of people is like ancient history for them, and board games are a little passe. I don't know if it necessarily has to do with World War II vets passing away.
I think some war games are coming back into the mix. Maybe I'm not sure, not necessarily through M&P, but other game companies. I think I heard something they were actually doing pretty well. You know, when you got stuff like, you know, Saving Private Ryan coming out, Band of Brothers, a lot of World War II movies, things like that. I think that helps fuel the fire. At least that did it for me. You know, watching the old, you know, Bridge Too Far and the whole 9 yards, watching those 1,000 times, Longest Day. That's what got me into wargaming. And I think as long as they continue to make movies, it will get the non-wargamer, at least kids or whatever. Maybe they might be interested. And with the internet, hell, it's a lot easier to find players. I mean,
Yeah.
or communities, it's so much easier.
Well, the thing I notice, like on social media, on Facebook, is I don't know how many times a week I see a post about somebody saying, "Well, I used to play this when I was a kid, and I'm 50, 60 something. I'm getting back into it, and you know, I think because to me it seems like board games are more popular than they have been in the recent past. But
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Question from Richard. Where is the best place to find opponents for Vassal if you are a Vassal beginner? By Vassal, I assume you mean VASL, Virtual Advanced Squad Leader. There's a Vassal Facebook group. There's a Vassal forum on Game Squad. You could just go into the Vassal room, and sometimes there are people looking for games as well.
All right.
There's a mark
Discord?
next to the name. Discord, yeah, sorry. There's a Discord group, ASL Discord group with Vassal channel. Yeah, there's a lot of places actually to find Vassal opponents.
you just go to the Facebook ASL group page and say
Yep.
you're looking for a game.
Pretty much any community related to ASL, and they'll know what Vassal is. A lot of people play it because we're all spread out.
Yeah.
So a lot of people use it to play.
So if you were on Facebook, yeah.
This is kind of an eye chart here. What I was trying to do was compare the three systems, right? Squad Leader, ASL Starter Kit. So Squad Leader is, like we say, it's awesome game, awesome system. It's just out of date, and not a lot of people play it other than, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, they play it for mainly nostalgia reasons. ASL is the big boy, right? It's expensive. Overall cost, as much money as you can stand to spend, pretty much. I mean, if you bought everything,
Yep.
MMP, third party, all that stuff, very expensive. Or it could be
Couple grand.
easily
Yeah,
a
easy.
couple-
Easy.
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah, it depends on what I say, depending on where you want to go.
Right. If you just want to go all in, it could probably be 10 grand. Some
If
of
you
the
want to
stuff,
stay
the
married,
critical hit charges.
$400. If you want
Yeah.
to get divorced, $4,000.
Complexity high. So the core rule set here, this box here, 160 pages. And the reason I put that there is because a lot of people say, oh, the ASL rulebook is just, oh, it's so insanely complex and big and daunting. If you compare it to other systems, if you compare it to the original Squad Leader core set, 144 pages. That gets completely muddled as you get deeper into the end of Crescendo of Doom and GI Emblem Victory. The ASL, what I call the core set, is Chapter A, B, C, and D, right? Infantry, terrain, guns, and vehicles. But you don't even have to read all those. You could just read infantry and the terrain that you're going to be playing on. And that's maybe 50 pages. Or I'm guessing, what 50 pages. You do not need to read 160 pages or 700 pages of rules to play ASL. You actually have to read probably the same amount that you'd have to read the full squad leader system. Now, if we go to the end here and go to starter kit, entry cost is $30, maybe even cheaper. You might be able to find starter kit 1 for $25.
Yep.
That's the infantry system. You learn how you learn starter kit 1, and you've probably learned 80% of the infantry rules, and it's 20 pages. Not even that. Maybe 15 pages.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You can get the entire system pretty much for maybe $300. Everything. Infantry, guns, tanks, expansion packs. Well, not including decision else, which is out of print.
Yeah.
People are charging an arm and a leg for that.
Yeah.
The entire core rule set for ASL Starter Kit is 40 pages. That's everything. The whole thing, all terrain, all vehicles, and like I said, you probably learned 80% of ASL by learning Starter Kit. You may not learn how to do beach landings, which you don't need
Nobody
to learn
does.
you only read it if you're going to play it, right? or DTO or sun blindness in DTO.
Yeah.
Do you just read it when you need it? You don't need to memorize that. The stuff you need to memorize is the stuff that's in Starter Kit, which is 40 pages. You know, that's why I recommend starting Starter Kit.
SK1 isn't really all that daunting, but if you master it, you've mastered probably the two hardest components of ASL, like routing and the defensive first fire.
Yep. Those are two of the hardest infantry things. You get that down, and you've got infantry down pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, super cheap. Super cheap.
Yeah, entry and just for the whole system, it is just cheap. I mean, the entry cost for full ASL is about, I estimated it to be $220, which is the rule book, the charts, and Beyond Valor. That's the minimum you need to start playing. It's almost 10 times the cost of Starter Kit 1 to get going. Try Starter Kit 1. If you don't like it, you're out $25, and you can just sell it probably anyway. You might be out $5 if you sell it.
Okay, we have a couple questions.
Yep.
Russ asks, do you know if there are any 2v2 or 4-player scenarios in ASL or ASL Starter Kit?
There are three player games. We've played those, but I think somebody else mentioned in there. Just I think what you could do is you could split some games up, especially in larger games. Don't play the small ones. A couple board scenarios, split up the squads, and go half and half, pretty much.
Yeah.
What you can do with that.
Armor infantry. Have an armor commander, infantry commander. If one person's good at armor, you control all the armor and vehicles or whatever. You could do it that way too. There are that I know of. There are no scenarios that are specifically 2v2. There are 3-player in ASL, like you said, but no 2v2 that I know of.
Right.
Okay, and then Don asks, how difficult would it be to play someone who is a Starter Kit player if you are a full ASL player who's never played Starter Kit?
I'll let one of you guys do that.
Dawn, the one thing I would hesitate against that is the ASL player has to be extremely patient, because what will happen is, and this is what happened to me when I started my SK work, is that you get extremely frustrated because you go to try to do something and you can't do it. The Starter Kit player will say, that's not in the rules. That's not in the rules. And you'll feel, I just felt like a lot of frustration and sometimes actually even anger. But once you break it down, once you just kind of like relax and just kind of, take a couple Tylenol or NyQuil or something like that, and then just kind of go with the flow and realize that a lot of the ASL game isn't there. You've got the skeleton of the game that's working for you in SK, but there's a lot of little things that aren't quite described that are missing from SK that you take for granted in ASL. And those little things that are missing that you expect to be there, snipers, bypass movement, things like that. Certain techniques, certain tactics that you can't use in starter kit won't be there. And that generates a lot of frustration. But once you pass that frustration level, I think you'll begin to you'll enjoy starter kit for what it's supposed to be. Is, I guess, maybe ASL light. Again, ASL is not for everybody. SK, I think, is a very good system for players like Neal was saying that don't want to spend thousands of dollars on a system and things like that, or have tons of opponents or what have you.
Or want to tip their toe into the system for cheap.
Right.
Figure out if they like it.
Right. And SK, they have a lot of scenarios. They have a lot of expansions. $300, you can, like Neal said, you can get everything. And like I say, if you're more of a other type of war gamer and you have some other tactical games and you want ASL to be just a small portion of your wargaming hobby, then go SK. If you are tired of your old stuff and you love tactical games, and you have a couple other tactical games, then to be honest with you, I would just bypass SK and go ASL. And if you love tactical games, but you have to realize, as Neal points out, you're going to be spending a couple pennies on it. So work some overtime.
ASL,
Yeah.
ASL's a black hole. I mean,
Yeah. You'll keep spending.
once you go in there, you're not coming back out.
You're
You're just going to
doomed.
disappear.
I want to read this comment by Andrew real quick because he kind of summarizes what we're talking about. 80% of ASL is chapters A through D. I would generally agree with that.
Yep.
Maybe the percentage you could debate, but yeah, that's about right. 20% optional rules, some of which you'll never use. My commissar parachuted into an ice hole and his squad was run over by a captured arrow sand. Exactly. How often does that happen? Almost never. And if it does, you just look it up. You don't have to memorize and read it all beforehand.
All right. But that's why we play ASL, right? Because of those stories that you will never ever forget.
Build great narrative. Yeah.
And that's the kicker. I mean, I've played, Third Reich a couple times, Panzer Leader, Panzer Blitz. Do you have any of those stories in those? No, it's a die roll, attacker eliminated, whatever. And but in ASL, you'll have a ton of stuff going on, and it will be different. And that's what makes it super exciting.
SK is great. It's a great way to learn ASL, but once you just step up to full ASL, it's just such a crazy world of chaos. Everything that goes on.
Yeah. It's a lot of
The
fun.
dice and rolling, generating. Yeah.
I call it a kind of like a system for life, right? It's one of those games. I mean, I sold all of my other war games over the years because ASL brings so much variety. No two scenarios the same. You play a scenario one week, you play a different one the next week. You're in another country, another environment, different units, different situation. It's plays completely differently. And because there's so much variety, you really don't get tired of it. You might get a little burned out once in a while for reading all the rules or reviewing the rules as you're playing, but you never get tired of the action and the narrative that happens while you're playing. I never do.
All right.
Bill says, let me see what you guys think about this, or see what chat thinks. A rewrite of SK rules should be priority number one to help new people with lots and lots of examples of play, especially routing and vehicles. What do you guys think about a rewrite of the SK rulebook?
Go ahead, Scott. Your opinion first.
I think it could stand to have one. Yeah, it's a little. It always felt a little chopped up. The rules. Trying to find what you're looking for when you have a question when you're playing. You read it, but you can't find it, and some of it's just the way it's written could be it's kind of like it just took little snippets out of the full AS rulebook and kind of jumbled them together, and
Yeah.
could definitely use a.
When we played ASL or starter kit a few years ago, when we were getting our ASL feedback under us, we thought, well, let's kind of use the program instruction, which is kind of what SK is, right? You have the infantry module first, guns, right? It kind of builds. And we started playing, and man, we complained about the rulebook a lot. Just because of the organization, it's just so hard to find things.
Yep.
The ASL rulebook, conversely, it's easy to find things. I mean, it's big, but it's so easy to find what you're looking for most of the time.
Yeah, I completely agree. And playing SK and doing a lot of SK work with a lot of players, the rule book, like you said earlier, doesn't have an index. You just gotta find. It's hard to find. It has a lot of one-liners, and sometimes it has rules that don't seem to belong in certain sections, and it's difficult to pin it down. I would encourage you to download the SK4, even if you don't have SK4. If you have either 1, 2, or 3, 1 or all, none, get the SK4 rulebook, download it, highlight the information in there. You can't do it. Throw all the rulebooks away. SK1, I don't even think they've updated it. I think all of the errors, all of the examples in SK1, I think have errors. To be honest with you, because I did a whole bunch of videos going over those examples, and every single one of those, or I think Klaus came along later and said, yeah, all those are wrong. All the examples are wrong. It's like, well, shit, I wish I knew that. So, but toss all your rulebooks out, download the SK4, and, if you're only doing infantry, it's got infantry section. And I think there's some, again, the third-party stuff, which highlights in the SK4 rulebook only those sections you need, only if you do SK1. But yeah, even the route rules, just by the way the wording is, simply because ASL is kind of, legalese. There were some wording issues, even in the routing, that I kind of tore into, and we covered a lot of routing. I mean, routing for 2 years on Tactical Tuesday, and it's critical. I mean, I learned to route better by covering the routing rules with the SK guys, and I'm fully confident in, you change up your game if you know how to route better, and it's you don't get caught by surprises.
David has a question real quick. ASL rules always seem to be out of print. Practical to learn on PDF or Pocket version? Yes to both. I prefer to use the PDF when I'm playing Vassal, obviously, because it's right on the screen or another screen. When I'm actually sitting down and reading rules, like in a chair, I use the Pocket version. I don't use my big binder version. It's been on the shelf for years. Never look at it.
Right.
And the Pocket version should be in print, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think it's like, is it print on demand or something like that? It used to be print on demand.
Not sure, but yeah, I think they try to keep that in print. The three ring binder is hit and miss, but don't bother.
And it's expensive.
That's my opinion. Don't bother. It's just too cumbersome. It's just too big.
It's expensive. Like you said, you can get the ESL rulebook. I think it's like $60. 60 is it right? $60, I think. And then the Pocket versions can't be more than 40, and that's about as much as the binder version. So you get the electronic and the Pocket version for about the same price as the 3-ring binder.
But the electronic version has more chapters.
Yes, and it's updated.
Yeah, and it's hyperlinked.
Yeah, it's updated.
Fully hyperlinked. You can.
I pretty much. Yeah. I prefer the digital version because with my old tired eyes.
Yeah.
The Pocket version, even with my cheaters on, it's hard to read sometimes. But
yeah, the
digital can expand it. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny, Kevin.
Let me pop this up again. See how we're doing. Oops. Might have to skip over some of this stuff. This is just a summary of more summary. One thing I wanted to point out here under the squad leader column, the core rules, which I kind of covered already. Each one is about 40 pages, but somebody a while ago did a rewrite, 2 rewrites. One was called Squad Leader Redux, and one was called Squad Leader Classic. Both of them were about 200 pages. How that is less intimidating than roughly 160 pages of ASL core rules, I don't fully understand how that's more approachable. But again, I'm not trashing Squad Leader. I love the original Squad Leader, but I just don't see how that's more practical than chapters A through D of ASL. That's
That are
that's my
much
point.
better organized, right?
Yeah, I don't know. And then over here you can see, oh, the SK1 rule book is 12 pages. It's only 12 pages to learn most of the infantry roles in ASL if you go with starter kit. Yeah. One problem with Squad Leader though with ASL is, maybe I'll jump to that slide here. ASL is highly dependent on other modules most of the time. So to start, you need the ASL rulebook right here over on the left, plus the charts. And then you need to buy Beyond Valor. It has the Russian Order of Battle, German Order of Battle, and all the utility counters you need. That's the minimum to start. And then from there, you can see all the core modules, which add different nationalities, and the dependencies that there are in order. So Yanks has a low dependency, requires one other. I didn't list like what module requires all other modules based on the scenarios. I just put low, medium, high. And as you purchase these and go through the chart here, you can see Hakapale is the highest. The scenarios probably have nationalities from a butt ton of different modules that you would need. So you'd have to buy probably all of these. Maybe not Rising Sun, but you'd have to buy most of these to play Hakapale.
Right.
So if you are going to get into ASL, do not buy Rising Sun first. It's useless to you.
Unless you get cheap.
Yeah, unless you
$100
find
pick
it
it up.
dirt cheap and put it on your shelf. You're not probably going to be able to play it to begin. You should buy them in this order. These for King and Country and Yanks are interchangeable. You could go those 2 or 3. You could switch those around, but this is kind of the order you should buy them based on the dependencies. Now for
Neal,
Yep.
David's asking, are charts purchased separately?
if
They're
you,
included in electronic version.
Yes, they are. Yep.
Right.
But if you and in the 3-ring binder version. But
Right.
if you buy the pocket version, you need the pocket charts. That's the only time you need to get the pocket charts.
Could you flip back, Neil, one screen?
To which
The dependency thing
Oh, this one? Yeah.
on this one here. So I was thinking, I was reviewing the slides pre-game, and I gotta be honest. For those, because a lot of players have difficulty with armor, and armor adds another fundamental change to the game. What I like, and this happens to be on my end, I like to have infantry and early war fighting, and therefore you don't have a lot of fancy dancy tanks that could just blow everything up. I'm honestly thinking, and I hadn't thought about this before until today after reviewing it, and with the advent of Armies of Oblivion and Doom Battalions probably coming out within the next 12 to 16 months, yes, you might have to get the basic boards from Yanks and things like that. But
Possibly.
I think the scenarios in the Armies of Oblivion and Doom Battalions are, quote, more simpler than your Yank
Probably.
scenarios.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to have some of those Yank scenarios, although I love Paratrooper, and all those scenarios are in Yanks. Yanks has a much higher variety of theaters that it operates in. Like, it'll do like boats, it'll do pair drops, it'll do big tanks, big tank engagements, things like that. I'm feeling that the Armies of Oblivion, early war, mostly infantry, light tanks that you could actually deal with, as infantry, and things like that. And hopefully, those would be out. But again, I think You obviously need Beyond Valor. But, that's all there is to it. And but if you wanted to, if you're having difficulty with armor, and if that's not your forte, and you're just confused with it, I think Armies of Oblivion, Doom Battalions. Although I love Minor War, I'm kind of biased to that. But I think they give you a more variety of conflicts, and so you can essentially visit some of those different scenarios or different parts of the rule book and get used to bouncing around without having to fight and try to choke down those vehicle rules every once in a while. That's just my opinion.
They're called pew pew tanks.
Pew
Stu.
pew.
Yeah, I love them.
Tin can pew pew.
And again,
Ask Neal. Ask Neal how much he loves playing the miners.
I just don't like minor infantry all that much. Just the morale
With
and the
the
short range.
Two ELR.
God, yeah.
yeah.
The tanks I don't mind that much. It's just
Yeah.
the infantry, just like.
And the other realization is through the war tournament we're doing right now. It's the 1939. All the scenarios the players are playing in 1939, and I think Pete had a comment the other day. He says a lot of the players seem to be a little more comfortable in their usage of the tanks, and a lot of times the armor cars and things like that, simply because they might just be machine gun tanks. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about lots of fancy to hits and stuff like that. And
Hey, real quick, let me interrupt you
it's
real quick.
easier to manage if it's just a stupid little machine gun tank versus like a King Tiger. And he mentioned that literally just yesterday. And it's like, oh yeah, that's I hadn't thought of that point. But
Let's interrupt the presentation real quick. Let's give away a copy of Second Front. It's well past 45, past the hour. If you would like the chance to win a copy of Second Front, all you have to do, well, you need a Steam account, or you have to be willing to install Steam and get it up and running. Scott got it going, so anyone can do it.
That's right.
He is a cow counter.
That's
if
right.
you want a copy of if you want a copy of Second Front, just post in chat, I want Second Front. That's it. That's simple. And after the stream is done and I go through it and I can look at all the comments, I'll figure out a way to contact you and send you the key to unlock Second Front on Steam. So if you want a copy of Second Front, type I want Second Front in chat. If you're watching this delayed, you won't be able to get it because it's only for live people.
I don't have a gaming computer, and I was surprised it runs fine on my computer. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty low. Don't need a lot of hardware to run it. It does not run on a Mac. Sorry, as far as I know. There may be some software, emulation software you can run to get it to work, but as far as I know, there's no Mac specific build for it. And if nobody wants it, I'll just give it away next time, or try to give it away next time. So if you want a copy of Second Front, type it. I want Second Front. Okay.
if they're not familiar with it, Second Front is what, Neal?
It is a World War II tactical war game that is not exactly, but very similar to ASL. A lot of the rules within the game are based on ASL rules. It's very similar. What was I going to show? I was going to show, so what I was trying to show here is there's quite a bit of dependency in the ASL system, and this does not even include, oh wait, there was a question I wanted to get to. Don, where was that? Don 20, if he's still on.
Yep.
Do you think MMP should digitize the scenarios? They've digitized a handful. I think they should. I mean, you'd have to pay for it. They're not just going to give it away for free, but they can put it on Wargame Vault. And, you know, on Wargame Vault, when you download something that you buy, it puts a stamp on every page of where it came from, right?
Yep.
Like a digital stamp. So if you share it with somebody, they'll know where it came from. So yeah, digitize them, sure.
they've got some free SK ones on MMP website you can download.
Yeah. Okay, what I was trying to show here was a high dependency on modules, not even including all the historical modules that may need some stuff from here to supplement to play them. For SK, there's no dependency at all on the on the core modules.
Yeah,
All starter kit modules are self-contained and have no dependency.
that's pretty sweet.
The expansion packs, there are
Mhm.
dependency. If you buy an expansion pack, you may need one or more of these to play. But if you buy starter kit 3, it has the rulebook includes infantry, guns, vehicles, and so do the scenarios. If you buy just starter kit 1, there's no vehicles. It's just all infantry. So you can buy each one of these. If you want to go all in and buy starter kit forward and learn everything, you can do that, or you can peck away at it and go 1, 2, 3, 4. But they're all completely dependent. You do not need to own any of these to play any of the others, which is very nice. Ease of entry again.
That's huge.
Yep.
Mhm.
And also precludes people from buying starter kit 2, and then going, oops, that's not what I wanted to get, but you can still play it by itself. You know?
Right. Yep. And even if you don't like the system, they're easy to sell on the Facebook
Oh God,
marketplace.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything squad leader related, squad leader ASL starter kit that gets posted, it's gone it's gone before I even see it. It's most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just gone.
it'll be sold before your post even uploads.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
Vaporized.
Yeah, like the East Coasters post stuff for sale. I need to get up like about 3 o'clock in the morning to see those posts. Or
You're
or
up
stay
at
up.
3 o'clock in the
Or
morning.
stay
What are
up.
you talking?
Yeah.
I had a slide on here. Maybe I forgot to include it. I think I forgot.
Yeah, like Neal was saying, we're not really bashing Squad Leader.
No.
It's just past. It's just past. I love Squad Leader and love everything about it and just so many great memories. ASL is seventh heaven compared to Squad Leader.
Totally.
I was going to include, and I forgot. I included squad leader compared to other existing systems like Lock and Load,
Oh, cool.
Band of Brothers, uh, Conflict of Heroes, I don't know, a couple other ones. That kind of compared rule sets and cost, but apparently I didn't include it. But one of the things that came out of that was, I've played some of those. Combat Commander was another one. I love Combat Commander, great game. Um, but when I started looking at the size of communities and how much it gets played, uh, there was no comparison. And the way I did it was I looked at Vassal sessions. You can go back and look at
Oh,
how many rooms have been created for, over a month for any game, right? And if I'm recalling from memory that ASL and Starter Kit, which is the same thing, right? You play Starter Kit, you use the Vassal module, right? Right? It's just a board system that you're playing. Had 5,700-ish, I think, sessions over a month period when I looked at it.
Yep.
The next closest one was Combat Commander. It was 900 and something. And the other systems, I've read some of the rules for those. I mean, they're fine systems. A lot of them leverage stuff from ASL. Over a 30-day period, they had like 9 sessions, right?
Right.
Or 20 sessions. And what I was trying to show is, a game can be good, but if nobody's playing it, how fun is I like to play other people and have that interaction and that narrative of the action that's being built while you play. But a lot of these other games they're just not really being played by people.
Yeah. And matter of fact, the Combat Commander activity there is probably largely due to Patrick. He runs the Combat Commander ladder, and a number of guys are on that ladder. I've participated in that ladder in the past, and he does a lot of work in getting that going. They have their own Discord channel, things like that. But that in and of itself is organized Whereas the Vassal one, there is some organization there,
Yeah.
but there's 90% of it is just pickup games. Scott and Neal call each other all the time. They just play a game on there. You know.
Where is the marketplace for finding used stuff? I think the answer to that's the same as where do you find Vassal opponents? Pretty much any ASL community.
eBay,
Or
Facebook, eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably
Yep.
Game Squad. Probably Board Game Geek. They have a marketplace on Board
Yep.
Game Geek, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I would look
Yeah.
eBay first. Yeah, but I think some of the you can find some good deals from some of the sellers on. It's
River
ASL
Creek.
buy sell trade. Advanced Squad Leader buy sell trade on Facebook.
Yeah, we
And,
got banned from there.
Really?
Scott and I did, yeah.
What? You buying too much stuff?
No, the guy that runs it, I swear to God, he's a lunatic. I don't remember his name. Okay. Long story short, people were like violating the rules, and he made a post that said essentially, if you want to stay a member of this group, say reply below or something. And apparently, I didn't reply. Yeah, I either didn't reply or I didn't reply correctly, and I got banned. I'm like, okay. You there, Stu?
Yeah. Try answering David's question. What's your
Oh.
what's your website name, Neal? ASLplayers.net?
Oh, let's see. Is there a site to download vlogs to watch Vassal games? Yes. My site, there are some vlogs. It's asl-players.net. You can find it in the video description on the YouTube channel. The URL's already. Just search for ASL on Advanced Squad Leader on Google, and it'll probably pop up on the first page somewhere.
Yep.
There's some vlogs in the Vassal section. Where else can you get vlogs?
Just YouTube.
I think he wants to actually load them.
Oh, you mean
Download vlogs, yeah. Or yeah, you can watch games on YouTube, but I think he wants to step through
step through the games. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I've been trying to get for literally 3 years, David. There are a couple logs on ASL Scenario Archive on Neal's site.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a couple logs. Yeah, I'm with you. It's hard to find some, but there might be a couple out there. It's not.
Thanks, Amy.
It's not as I don't. It's not as well accepted, and a lot of players don't create the logs themselves. But my tournament that I'm running, I mandate that the players generate logs for their games to count. So I'm accumulating tons of logs for my tournament, and guys are playing a crap load. And once we get about 3 logs per game scenario, you'll start seeing a lot more videos coming out in terms of getting more information from those logs. And but the actual logs to download, the one thing you want to worry about, David, is version of the Vassal log and the VASSAL engine that it's run on. You don't necessarily know what those versions are, and sometimes they won't run. And some logs are really old. A lot of guys look for setups of games, and setups are a great idea. Problem is, your Vassal and Vassal keep updating, and those are become to be incompatible, which is actually just I really wish they would be able to correct that, because a lot of guys have put a ton of work into creating some of those. But
there is a solution coming.
Yeah.
There's Doug and some other guys are working on a vlog converter. So
oh, nice.
If you have an old log file, it'll update it to the current version of Vassal, so you'll be able to play it in the current version. So that is there is a solution for that coming. I don't know when. I just know that from reading some stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. What do I have left to show? I think I was going to show. I was going to step through this real quick. Rule set deep dive. Squad leader, elegant program instructions, which we all love, right? You only need to read 7 pages to play the first scenario.
That's crazy.
ASL,
Yep.
huge 3-ring binder, or the pocket version, or the electronic version, which we've talked about. I recommend the pocket and or the electronic version. ASL program instruction approach. Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. Starter kit has kind of a built-in system with starter kits 1, 2, 3, 4. But you can kind of get that same effect with this article here, 8 Steps to ASL,
All right.
from the General, volume 30.1. Let me pull that up here. Yeah, it's by Jim Stoller. I can't believe you remember that, Scott.
Oh yeah.
And it's basically a program instruction. It says lesson 1, basic infantry. It tells you to read these exact rule sections, right? No, nothing more, nothing less. Just read these sections, and then when you get to the bottom, it says you've now read almost enough to play SL Scenario A. So then it tells you to read some terrain that you need. Not all the terrain, just the terrain you need to play the first scenario.
Yep.
Then it says you're ready. Play Scenario A, which is Guards Counterattack, I believe.
Yes.
Updated Scenario 1 from Squad Leader. Right, and it does it with lesson 2, and it just builds. It's a programmed instruction to get you into ASL, the full ASL, pretty seamlessly without having to wade through every rule section. It just adds little bits that are relevant to that specific scenario as you play through it. So you can find this in General 30.1, was it? I said it's on my.
Yeah, it's old.
It's on my website under the
Yep.
ASL resources section.
Yep.
It's near the bottom, I think. And you might be able to find it online elsewhere if you do some search. Maybe it's on the Texas ASL site too. I haven't checked.
Yeah, I think it is.
But yeah, if you
Yeah, it is.
is it okay? If you're gonna get into ASL, whether you're coming from starter kit or not, just use this. It removes that fire hose from your mouth that you're drowning if you just try to dive in, and you just nibble away at it. Then it goes all the way to chapter D. It starts very simple, and it works you all the way through the system into tanks. Yep, highly recommended.
Have you guys known of anyone that's used this? Because it's a general. I'm not sure any new players actually even know. I mean, the general hasn't existed for years. I don't know if I've ever met someone that's used this, but it's a great resource.
You've
It's
met
great. I'd
used it
love
back
to
in
know.
90
Scott and I
We used it back in '93.
Yeah,
Oh,
when
nice.
we got back
To
into
learn.
the system yet again.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
Well,
Very
that
cool.
was when we started full ASL.
Oh yeah. Yep, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
We
sweet.
came late to
we-
ASL because of work and school.
So you're children of Jim Stoller's approach.
Yep.
Yes.
This is how we went from. Yeah, so we played Squad Leader back in
We-
the 70s and 80s, right?
Right.
Then you moved away. I went to college, right? Blah blah blah. Then we reconnected in early 90s, I think. You moved back.
'93. Yeah.
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 And we're like, hey, let's start playing again. So we started playing through Squad Leader just to, get our feet back under us. And we played through. We didn't play every scenario. I think we played through some Crescendo of Doom somewhat. Then we jumped into ASL, and this is what we use. We use this
Nice.
exact article. Yep.
Very nice.
So we highly recommend it.
Well, it obviously works, right? I mean, you guys are playing all the time.
Yeah, it eases you in. It's very easy.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Very cool.
John Payne, all general magazines are online. Yeah, they're on. I think the site is View from
the Trenches.
Yeah,
Yeah,
View from the
yeah.
Trenches. They're all there under one of their links on the top or left. I don't remember.
Yeah.
You can find this on the Texas ASL site, though.
Yeah.
The
I think
Stoller.
someone was asking about.
program.
Oh yeah, Richard asked, "Is it on?" I believe it is. This article. These guys say it is, so I believe it.
Hell, I might have to read through the vehicle section just to see if it gives me a couple pointers I don't know. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the basically gist of it is, just like starter kit, if you're playing full ASL, start with infantry only. That's what I recommend to everyone playing. Even if you have starter kit experience and you're getting into ASL, just start with the infantry. Don't overcomplicate it. Then slowly add guns and vehicles. And like Stu mentioned here, the full ASL starter kit rulebook is free to download on mmpgamers.com.
They should tag on the 8 steps to ASL in their starter kits they give out. Just to kind of like, okay, if the players like it as a little, as a hook to get them, because I can be honest with you, every single war gamer I come across, or I get introduced to, and they say, hey, this is Stu, he does a couple videos online, that sort of thing. The first thing they say is, yeah, that rule book's so big, it's, oh my gosh, that rule book is so big. I like it, but I just a rule book, and like you said, that's why we're
They need to
here.
read the whole thing.
Yeah, they think they need a whole thing. Exactly. And 8 steps, like you said, I mean, how many pages is that? Probably 15 pages when you break it down.
The 8 steps or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably less than that. It's probably like SK-ish, right?
Oh,
SK
you mean to
style.
start? Oh, heck, yeah. It's not much, right?
It's not much at all. And
I mean,
so
you skip a bunch of sections. You probably skip things like, it's probably very SK-like. You probably skipped heat of battle and bypass.
Prisoners, all garbage.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting if they would just, market that and stick it in something, stick it in with the starter kit stuff, I mean, starter kit players, if they're going to go on, they're going to go on. But the first thing they know is, okay, where do I start? Well, if you give them eight steps, it will add on the extra stuff that they haven't been instructed in the SK system. So, and I think some guys may have had some of that stuff there, but I mean, it's not easy. I mean, I was fortunate to start through squad leader, and then you're familiar with the system, just like starter kit will make you familiar with the system, and then you bounce on over and you make your mistakes for 15, 20, 30 years. And that's all there is to it. until you read those sections, you just like you said earlier, Neal, you read the sections pregame, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk with your opponent over those sections. Say, hey, how the hell does cavalry work? I think it does this. And as long as you guys play by the same rules, I mean, you're going to screw them up. But as long as you both are playing by the same set of rules, you know what to expect. And then you go back, say, oh, we messed this up and let's try it again. And that's where you start to develop and learn stuff. You're not going to pick it up first time through. It's just not going to happen.
Vlad has a good point. Go ahead.
Like you've already pointed out, the full ASL, the rulebook is, it's daunting, but if you just nibble away at it, like when we started playing again, there's so many scenarios. Like we avoided any scenario with OBA for a while until we got ready to do it. Yeah.
Vlad, the best way to learn is by playing, and I try to drum this into people all the time, and I think there are some people that are resistant to this. The best way to learn is by playing with an experienced player. The good thing about the ASL community is that you'll find willing players who will teach as you play, right? Yes, playing an experienced player, even playing another player, even if you're both learning, helps you learn quicker, because what I find, I do these videos, these tutorial videos or playthroughs, and I play solo, and then I go back and edit the video, and I find these stupid mistakes because I don't have another person on the other side of the table or on the other side of Vassal correcting me, right?
Right.
And if you play by yourself a lot, or you don't play with another player, experienced or not, you end up reinforcing mistakes while you play.
Right.
So I find it really hard to play solo myself, and I prefer to have someone who keeps me in check.
Right. And kind of tag along with what Vlad said. Yes, a very good way to learn is play with experienced player, but ASL, as we all know, is not for the faint of heart. You have to do your homework. You have to read the rules, because when you play with other players, he's going to tell you 20 things during the game, that what you can do, what you're doing wrong, whatever this, that, and the other. Unless you actually go back or have done your pregame work And unless you become a student of the game, that you check on these little things, you're not going to catch it all. It's like, like anything, you have to do the work. Oh, I mean, if you just want to keep playing experienced players so they can kind of drag you through the game, it takes a lot of time, and you actually may lose players if you kind of quote commit yourself to the game in trying to learn what you need to learn to have fun and be a little bit more competitive and not be a brand new player all the time. Playing with experienced players is half of it, and then doing your homework is the other half. When he tells you it's good to drop a fire lane here, or you need to sleaze freeze this guy, or use these leaders for this, unless you go back and reinforce it through the readings, then you'll say, hey, oh, I remember when Vlad said to use by fire lanes and things like that. Then you'll learn it, and then you'll become that experienced player for the next guy. But if you fail to do that, you'll continue to go over, oh, what's this, and it can become difficult for you and plus you'll start winning more games too. Absolutely.
That's why ASL is, a life. Someone called it a lifestyle game earlier. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, that's correct. It's one that either clicks with you and it's the one game that you focus on and you put a lot of time and effort, but you get reward back for doing that. Or it's not a game that you can just casually. I mean, you can, I guess, but it's kind of a system where it's a lifelong lifestyle type of war game.
Yeah. If you're casual, go start a kit. If you don't want to commit the time and the effort, go start a kit. You'll have the same enjoyment, and you won't have to read tons of rulebook and do all the research and go online and stuff like that. Start a kit is for you if you're a casual war gamer.
If you're the crazy situations that you might get in ASL.
Yes.
Right. All the just chaos that can happen, but you get you certainly get the feeling.
Right. I mean, like you guys, right? When you're playing your games, I mean, you're reading your rules all the time. You guys are playing a whole bunch of stuff, and you've got to go over different sections all the time, so you're cruising through, And we're all going to make the mistakes, and but you guys are doing your due diligence. You're not just going from one scenario to the next without checking stuff out. You're picking up the rules as you go along.
Yeah, and us doing our AARs afterwards.
Yep.
It's kind of a check for ourselves, right? We'll see mistakes we made, and and my wife's a teacher, right? She'll probably attest to this. Is the best way to learn is through error. If you do everything perfectly all the time, you're not learning.
Yeah.
If you're messing up, you're learning, right? Because you learn how to fix that thing. And I was a former design engineer. That's how you learn, right? You design, you analyze, you test, you break things to learn how they work, and you fix them, and you make them better the next time around. It's the same process, right? You always have to be improving.
I mess up all time, and I just don't really seem to learn much.
Hopefully you're just talking ASL, where it's not that important.
Oh my.
Yeah, like I often say, no one has ever played a perfectly correct game of ASL ever, and if they say they have, they're lying.
All right.
A few more slides I just want to go through real quick. I just had a summary of Squad Leader, kind of the pros and cons. It's a classic, elegant programmed instructions, which was, I don't know if anyone had done programmed instructions before Squad Leader. I can't recall. Maybe one other game. Entry to learning is easy because of that, but cons, it's an unsupported system. It hasn't been supported for 40 some years, probably, or 40 years. Small player base, relatively inactive. They do play, I mean, you see people talking about it once in a while. I think a lot of people play it solo for nostalgia reasons. The full rule set is significantly larger than full starter kit rule set. Rules become a mess later on in the system. They contradict one another. They conflict with one another, and you have to unlearn some stuff. And you can only buy it on the used market if you don't have it. You have to find someone willing to jettison their version, which probably doesn't happen, right? It does happen, but it's not often. Now, starter kit, pros, low entry cost, easy to digest. Playing ASL starter kit is playing ASL. I don't care what anyone says. It is playing. You're playing ASL. Thus, it's, in my opinion, and you guys also said this at the beginning, it's a perfect springboard to full ASL and just getting into ASL in general. And it's easy to find opponents, especially online. Cons, we talked about this. Someone brought it up in chat. Rulebook is poorly organized, in my opinion. It's hard to search for things and find things. The order of battle is limited, right? Very few guns and vehicles compared to full ASL. And some nationalities are even missing. And then we've got full ASL pros, deep and logical rule set, very well organized, highly organized rule book, highly organized PDF that's fully hyperlinked. You just click on it and it takes you to the rules section. You go back and forth. Has nearly the entire order of battle of World War II. It may be missing some weird esoteric vehicle that Hungarians drove around in 1941. I don't know, but it's got the majority of the entire order of battle of World War II. Lifelong playability because it has so much variety. You can make the system, as we've talked about here for the past hour or so, you can make the system as easy or complex as you choose. Just start with the infantry or go with the full night paradrop in the winter, beach on the beach with, just crazy setups, right? You can do everything in between. And it's very easy to find opponents. ASL is probably still one of the most 40 some years later, probably still one of the most popular war games, Hex Encounter war games being played today, as far as I know. Cons, cost. Entry is 200 plus bucks just to get started. If you want to go hog wild, it's probably thousands and thousands, many thousands of dollars. Commitment, as we talked about. It's a game you need to commit to if you want to play it seriously and play it decently. And then it has the stigma of being incredibly complex, but I think we've gone through and shown you can digest it very easily in small chunks in a logical manner. But those are the cons that I think a lot of people come up with. The stigma of the complexity is probably what keeps a lot of people away from the game. And then I think the last thing I had was recommendations, and I think you know where this is going because we've already talked to it. If you want to start playing the system, it's a no-brainer. Start with starter kit. 25 bucks, you're in. It's right in the name. It's right in the name.
It's right in the
kit.
name.
It's inexpensive, accessible, and popular. I just kind of wish MMP would support it a little better. I mean, there is a historical module coming out, but a lot of the focus goes in the squad leader. Obviously, more people buy it, but I think they would also try to put a little more starter kit out to get people into the system easily to maybe have them step up in the squad leader. But starter kit doesn't seem to get a lot of attention lately. But if you choose to start with full ASL, take baby steps. Don't be afraid of the rule book. Start with the infantry only and add from there. Use the program instructions that we showed that you can download from our site to work your way into the system. Lastly, this is my recommendation. Unless you own squad leader, do not start with the original squad leader. It's just not a lot of people play it. It's hard to find unless you already own it. Just play starter kit. It's cheap.
Yeah, it's just the OG squad leader is
great, but its time has come and gone, and I stare at it on my shelf behind me once in a while, but I don't really entertain the thought of playing it.
Yeah, I've got like 3 or 4 posters. My game room's covered with old squad leader, expansion games. Crescendo Doom GI posters. They're great, but time
it's
to move
gone
on.
the way of Biggie Smalls.
Yep. It's gone the way of flip phones.
First Fire says there is SK Index available on the Texas site, which helps. Yeah, it helps a little bit. I think someone redid the SK manual and they hyperlinked it too.
Oh, nice.
So you can bounce around a little bit at least. And MMP is going to publish a SK journal. Well, I've been hearing that for 3 years. I have my fingers crossed, but I've been hearing it for 3 years because we wrote an article for it. But I won't get into that like I did, I think, the last Friday Night Tactical.
You've had them across so long, you only have like 2 fingers now.
Yeah, so we'll see. We hope so. So ASL is a single system game load with a variety that you can play for a lifetime without having the same experience twice. It's a system that you can make it as complicated as you want, and it's a system with historical playability, which is important. I've learned a lot of the limited World War II that I've learned from playing ASL, Squad Leader and ASL, and playing with Scott. I don't read a lot of World War II history, but I have learned a lot just from playing the game. That's it. Don't be afraid of ASL.
Won't hurt.
Won't hurt. It may make your brain feel a little fuzzy when you first start, but you get over it.
And the best part is let's say you buy someone's collection and you don't get past Beyond Valor, you're not going to lose a dime on the resale.
No, not if you buy it used. You could probably resell it for what you bought it for.
Yeah, absolutely.
If MMP was smart, they would just give SK1 away free. You know, the first one's free.
Like a crack sample.
Yeah.
Get you hooked. I mean, you can download the manual.
Yeah.
The rulebook. You can peruse it to see if you might like the system.
Yeah,
but
it's.
I mean, my argument is, and I didn't include that slide, which I kind of regret now. But a system is good for 2 reasons. One, it's just fun to play and it has a solid rule set, and 2, other people are playing it and it has a large community. And ASL and ServerKit has both of those. Some of these other games have maybe one of those, right? Yeah.
And if you look at the tournament schedule, I mean, there's a tournament practically every weekend, every other weekend, somewhere in the world.
Now that COVID's over, yeah.
Yeah, now that COVID's over. I mean,
or not over, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they got one going on this weekend, don't they?
Not as restrictive.
Probably.
Nor'easter.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's someone posting pictures of it. Yeah.
And there's online tournaments all the time now. People are getting into online. I mean, I'm doing one right now. There's I think Ass Open, the ASL Opens online this year.
Ass Open.
The Ass Open, but that one's online this year, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm going to be maybe doing another SK tournament later on this year. I ran a small one, and just need more people out there. I just need a marketing guru to be able to do that. But lots of it out there, like you said, Neal. Lots of players out there wanting to play, and yeah, that's why we have our Discord channels. That's why you have your channel, your stuff, and all the information you guys provide to get people going, stoking the fire.
Yeah, and once you start, just jump into the community and just read to start with, right? Before you get your feet under yourself. Start watching some of our videos to learn. There's tons and tons of resources out there for ASL to help you out. Jeff had a comment, which is correct. You have to be okay with losing a lot in the beginning. There's a very large skill gap in the beginning while you're learning the game. Correct. Yeah. If you're first starting out and you're playing a very experienced starter kit or ASL player, you have to go into it as a learning experience and just understand you're probably going to get drubbed, unless the other person kind of gives you a break and goes easy on you, which I would do if I was playing a new player. I wouldn't go cutthroat on them. I'd try to help them learn more than anything.
Let's see, Jeff.
That's it. We're done. Hour and a half. I can't keep these to an
Tossed you
hour.
wrote.
What am I going to do, man?
That's tough. Hour goes quick.
Man.
Because Stu's such a loudmouth, he never shuts up.
I talk too much.
I
You
can
can
mute
mute.
him. I'll just
Mute
I'll
button.
just kick him.
Mute button.
Any questions? Any more questions in chat? I didn't do that. That's Stu doing his mime imitation.
That's what happens when I roll that damn 12 on my morale check.
That happens to me all the time.
Oh man.
What are we gonna do next?
I think
Thanks,
we're
Richard.
gonna do a squad leader podcast.
Yeah, let's start playing Squad Leader after all that.
Oh man.
No,
I
think
do. I do first fire, unfortunately.
I think we'll watch you teach Amy how to play ASL.
I can't convince her to do that. She did play Combat Commander.
I was
if
gonna
we-
say I kicked your ass in Combat Commander.
She
So,
beat me.
you know.
No, that's
He
this goes
doesn't.
back to
He's
when-
afraid of me doing ASL because he doesn't want to be scolded by me.
Oh,
No, I went easy. I
oh
went easy on her.
man, the gauntlet has been thrown.
No, you know Combat Commander. You could have the best plan in the world. Because that game is just pure chaos, right? It's purely the luck of the draw. It's like ASL, but it's just
No move
ASL. Yeah, it's just ASL crazy.
Whoa, luck of the draw? I think Amy
Yes.
smoked you.
No, I went easy on her. I got bad luck. That's
All
my,
right, Amy,
that's my
Amy,
excuse.
retaking Veerville. 2 weeks
I-
from today.
I've asked her, but no, she's busy.
Oh.
I understand.
It's only
Oh, come
5
on,
turns,
I
Amy.
I don't want to lose
It's
again.
only 5 turns. We'll get a Spanish tutor for you.
I think weren't we gonna do a? Weren't we gonna talk about either how we got into ASL, which we kind of talked about earlier, or I think. Well, I don't have any other ideas. I keep pinging you guys for ideas. I think we were gonna also do one that talks about like the three things we hate about ASL, or the 3 rule sets we hate in ASL, and talk about them, or maybe the 3 we like, or both.
Or both, yeah.
I know what Scott's gonna say for number 1, but what is it,
Cowering.
Scott? Yep, there it is.
Cowering.
Seriously? Oh, I love cowering.
Hate cowering.
Every time my opponent rolls a snake eyes, I just remind him that his unit can't fire again.
Jeez, that'll be brutal. Now, you don't want
Okay.
snake eyes.
Save it for next time, you guys.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll figure
come
it
up
out.
with something.
We'll figure it out for next whatever the date is, 2 weeks from tonight. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, chat.
Cool.
I think only one person wanted the second front, from what I could recall. I'll go back and look. But
No, there were a few.
Yeah, a
okay,
couple.
I'll go back and look and see how many wanted the copy of second front. But I have 2 more keys to give away, so I'll try to give those away and some follow-on live streams. Okay. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Stu. Thanks, Scott. Thank you, Amy. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Adios.